Okay, and hopefully that means I'm back online by now. No, that's the wrong window. I'm just putting up my chat window so I can see you guys. I'm going to send a message in chat as well just to make sure. And that should be me back online now. Let me know if there's any difference. Okay, so I've just restarted the stream basically, and we'll see if that makes any difference. And in the time I was standing there, my buggy sank slightly under the ground, which is a little irritating, but oh well. Oh, much better. Oh, Kilroy, wonderful. That is good news. Well, my buggy's not much better because it sunk halfway into the ground during that time, but if that's the sacrifice we have to make for a better quality stream, I accept. I don't know why it's stuttering though. Just if it does pop up with any more issues, feel free to just give me a shout and say, hey, listen, this is rubbish, and I can't do much about it, I don't think, but it'll at least be good to know. At least I can, if nothing else, I can recognize the pattern, because us psychologists like to see patterns in these things. Your experience is kind of ambiguous. That is less than what I'd hope it to be. Well, I encourage you to, well, I've always been very skeptic about it, and I can understand that. I think, especially when you're coming from a position where you potentially don't know a lot about how it works. Especially for me personally, I've conducted therapy with many clients, and so I've been in the fortunate position to see it creating or helping people to create change in their lives, and so that's quite a thing on its own. Actually, I should scroll this the other way. And really, I think that can be quite a thing in helping you appreciate just how effective therapy can be. So I can understand for somebody that doesn't have that they can sort of go, look, how's this supposed to help me? Thank you, Stream Elements, for letting us know that I'm streaming Astroneer. Well done, Stream Elements. And you still are a skeptic. Interesting. But at the same time, that's the only place I have to talk freely about any problems and judgment. And on the one side, that I would never want to underestimate that, having the space to talk freely about problems and to speak without judgment, that is a fantastic thing. And I wish everybody would have that. And honestly, I wish everybody could learn to create that for themselves as well. One of the more recent developments in the therapy world is the concept of encouraging or of teaching people how to be less judgmental towards themselves and more accepting of themselves. And it sounds like such a small thing, but really it holds such huge potential for people to improve and grow just because of that. And so if that's all you're getting, that's a big thing on its own already. But that said, therapy also has the potential to offer a lot more to people. And so I would hope that people would also be able to get tools and techniques that they can use out of it and broaden their understanding of themselves and their understanding of other people. And there's so many other things that is this my smelter? Yes, it is. There's so many other things that people could gain from therapy that it would make me kind of sad if all they gain from it is, wait, I don't want that there. All they gain is a space to talk, in that sense, that it doesn't take a lot of training to offer somebody that. Maybe it takes a fair amount of training for people to appreciate the value of that, but a relatively untrained person can offer a space to talk and a judgment-free space at that. Main reason I keep doing it, but I see no real difference on my daily life. You know what I mean? It's starting to stutter a lot more. Oh no. Roxev, that makes me sad, especially when we're getting into talking like this. I don't know. I don't know what to do about the stuttering. I'm hoping maybe it's just a today thing, that, I don't know, maybe some freak of nature storm is affecting my internet connection, and by tomorrow it will all be sorted out. Roxev, what I might suggest with that as well is bring up with your therapist to say, look, it doesn't seem to make a real difference in your day-to-day life, and talk to them about that. Be frank and honest and say, I'm skeptical about this. I'm not sure if it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. At the very worst, you discover, hey, you're right, it's not doing something. In the very best case scenario, maybe that helps push the therapy in a direction where it can be more useful. And maybe also with the consideration that you may also consider the idea of finding a new therapist. Maybe that particular therapist has done what they can for you, and another therapist might be able to help you in a slightly different way, for example. I have no idea what I'm about to do now. I'm peeking over at I've just discovered now that there's a thing on my stream that shows what I assume is like a quality indicator. And right now it's staying in green, whereas before it was switching to yellow and red a little more frequently. So we'll see, I suppose. Okay, what am I doing? I got titanium. I guess I should go back and get something else. What was that? Oh, and actually now I can go dig up that planet. So that sounds like an ideal thing to do. Hematite. Yes, I wanted iron as well. Okay, so maybe we go back to that planet and grab some hematite. We already talked about this subject, but it's kind of a special case. And fair enough, you're likely to... maybe... Oh, actually, let me just double check how much fuel I've got. I see 1 and a bit. Yeah, I think that should be enough to get us off planet and back down again. I started therapy because my parents got me to do it. They were concerned about me. Okay. Look, it can always be tricky when it's especially when it's like a parental involvement, because depending on the person's age and mindset and understanding of what's going on and the situation itself, some people can be very open to that, and some people can sort of say, well, screw you, I don't want to be here, I'm not saying a thing, I'm not getting involved in this process. And then it can be very difficult to make progress that way. Concerned about me. It wasn't me that searched for it, and I think still today that I wouldn't go for it on my own. And Roxav, maybe, and that I'd almost encourage you to say, you don't have to use therapy for whatever they've decided you need it for. If you think maybe you don't need it for that, make use of it for whatever you find the best use for it. Make the best use of that time that you're able to, because in many ways it's an opportunity that, if nothing else, you can use it to learn more about yourself and grow as a person. And I'm going to be spouting all sorts of wonderful yay therapy things here, but I think you get the idea. So by all means, if you don't agree with the reasons why they decided you should be there, then find your own reasons to be there, potentially. Don't get me wrong, I'm open to experiment. And that's a great mentality. If you're just open to hear what they have to say, and they're open to hear what you have to say, you can get a lot out of therapy just with those attitudes. Okay, we need to go test my fancy new drill mod. Let me not get too distracted in the process, though. I don't really believe in a solution for my problem anyway. And maybe solution is a strong word. Like some people go into therapy and say, for example, I've got anxiety, make it go away. And yeah, more fluid. I like more fluid. So yeah, apparently now we're realizing the stream just wanted me to talk more about mental health stuff, and then it behaved itself. And look at this. Oh my God! Look at how quickly I dig through impossible stuff. I like our diamond mod. This is awesome. See, this is what we needed. We needed a diamond drill, and now it's digging through all the rubbish internet connections. Well done, us. But so many people come into therapy with the concept of, I want my therapist to fix this problem. And oftentimes what we say to those people, and some therapists will, like me, will say it quite directly to say, well, about that, and some will try to be a little more indirect about it. It also depends on the situation to a degree. Ooh, shiny. But potentially a lot of those problems can't be solved. And oftentimes for many people, it is more about, how do we manage these problems as opposed to how do we solve these problems? God, look how fast this drill digs. But apparently it sucks power. Oh my. Oh, of course, I didn't reattach the battery and the wind power to my rocket. Okay, let's go sort that out quickly. Yeah, okay, sorry. I thought I'd missed the message there, but I hadn't. Well, I don't think I had. So in that sense, it's also worth considering the idea that maybe therapy is not necessarily about solving the problem as much as it's about making life as livable as possible with that problem. It may be worth adjusting your goals somewhat, that maybe you're right. Maybe whatever the problem is can't be solved. And like you said, an open mind is a good thing to have. It's always useful to say, well, maybe one day there will be a solution, whether from this therapist or the next one or some other person in my life or my own realization or whatever it is. Okay, let's drop this here and take some of these off and put some of these on and take some of those off and put some of that. Okay, that can go there, sure. Those on, put that there. And there we go. Okay, I'm going to assume that we don't run out of power too easily now, but who knows, maybe my fancy diamond drill will still use masses and masses of power. Let's go find out. Geronimo. Okay, where are we off to now that we can dig through absolutely anything? Zzzt. Look at us go. There was more titanium down here, but I don't actually care for that now. Alright, let's see. Yeah, it's the idea people... What? It's the idea people who've never been in therapy have, yeah. What I've learned this year is that you kind of get new tools or mechanisms in relation with your therapist that you can transplant to your daily life. Yeah, absolutely. And I think any decent therapist worth their 2 cents, or more than 2 cents, I guess, for most therapists, but any decent therapist should be imparting tools upon their clients. And that can be, some therapists, that's a very explicit process where they say, right, let's learn some tools. And for other therapists, they might not necessarily say it in as many words, but what they're doing in a therapy session, ideally they hope for the client to be able to mimic that in their own life, that they can then make what's done in a therapy session into tools for themselves, potentially. So yeah, definitely, that idea of gaining tools to use is invaluable. Where are we going? We're going to dig up these plants as we go, just so that we don't kill ourselves down here. But I want to find iron now. I wonder how far I need to dig in any particular direction. Oh, and it didn't even give me a nice thingy. That's not very nice. Oh, but I do like this diggy tool. Oh, it's lovely to just dig through everything at a fast speed. Oh, and my kitty is in the background sounding very sorry for himself. Harry! Come. No, he's going to sit back there and meow at me instead. Come here, delicious titanium, even though I don't need you. Oh, there's just so much. Oh, I need a... Let me reconnect to power and whatnot, and then make a tether to the bundle. Okay, and now we can dig up masses of titanium here, even though we don't actually need titanium. Oh, and laterite. Meow. Hello, my boy. My kitty is hungry, even though he's how many hours early. Hello, my boy. We can't, as much as I'm wanting to focus on the stream, kitty always comes first, obviously. Oh, I've missed a bit. Let me catch up. My way of working is to box up things, and what I do there stays there, and what I do out stays out. This is just an example. It's just the way I organize stuff unconsciously in my head so things can work. And so what I'd say to that is to say, great, you've recognized how you do things. It's really useful to be mindful of how you do things. Oh, I'm just actually dropping stuff on the ground here. I'm not actually doing anything useful with it. Do I want to just drop the laterite and just take the titanium? I think that actually makes more sense. But now there's a lot of laterite down here, so the more I dig, the more I'm just going to hit both, I suppose. God, what a ridiculous collection of resources down here, though. Okay, well, I found more titanium, and that one's going to not roll off the edge. Great. over there, and over there. And let's see. I can drop off the soil canister when I get back up, but I don't want to leave it down here. Okay, let's carry this back up. And we will come back down and search for iron in a moment, because I've got plenty of titanium now. And so now that you're mindful of that way of doing it, I'd say then maybe now is the time to start exploring alternatives to the way you do it. And obviously keeping in mind that none of them are going to start off as practiced as the particular process you have so far. You know, you've been practicing what you know how to do probably for decades by now. And so any new thing that you bring in is going to take a bit of doing to get right. But, you know, you can start off talking about it hypothetically and say, okay, well, possible alternatives that I could be trying might include X, Y, Z, pros and cons of each of those, and just discuss the concepts of them. And then, you know, if you find one that you think, well, hypothetically, this one sounds like it might be more effective for me, give it a few weeks to test it out. And it's one of the things I always tell a lot of clients, you know, when you're taking a scientific process to test something, you know, no real scientific process is going to go, well, I tried that once, it didn't work, and so I gave up on it. You know, that's the worst science in the world. Real science needs data, needs repeated attempts at attempting things in a certain way and seeing if it works and trying it a different way and practicing and practicing and practicing those things. Okay, I think we'll go back down with the tethers we have in hand, and hopefully we find some iron now. That'd be really nice. Think I can slide all the way down, or am I going to run out of? No, I ran out of slide. Go slide. Yeah, there you go. Oh, I heard him crash, but I didn't die in the process, so I accept. You know, that idea of it's just the way I do something is part of what ideally we want to be challenging in therapy. And you know, with no set outcome in mind, you know, maybe some people challenge the way they do things and they eventually come back and they say, you know what, I've challenged it, and what I've come to realize is the way I do it is the most effective way possible. I just happen to have a really bad situation and I figured out the best way to do it. And it doesn't end up with perfect results for me, but that's as good as it'll get. And then we say, okay, great. If that's what you figured out, who are we to say otherwise? Because one of the things we always want to acknowledge as a psychologist is the client is the expert of, or is the expert in their own experience. You know, let me stand back from that. We're experts of general psychology, of this idea that many people do this and try that and experience things this way and so on, but that's not all people. You know, that experience varies greatly, and we want to acknowledge that in the therapy process to say, maybe for some people there are differences from the norm, and that's perfectly okay. We don't need them all to, in fact, we don't want them to all to be the same, because then we'd be out of luck as psychologists with jobs. You know, everybody would sort of go, well, I just figure out how everybody else does it, and that's how we do it. You're right, but the thing about this is there's fears and anxiety of how do you bypass that? Now there's you bring up one of my favorite things there. There's fears and anxieties involved. How do I bypass that? So effectively the question you're saying, or the question you're asking is, hey, listen, I want to do that, but I recognize that I become anxious and fearful in that. I'd like you to strip away that fear and anxiety. How do we do that? And then I get to smile and laugh as a psychologist and go, well, actually, we don't bypass fear and anxiety. They're there. You're stuck with them. You can, and technically, I'm actually lying. You have figured out how you bypass them. You bypass them by not doing anything new. That's how you bypass them. If you want to do something new, on the other hand, you probably don't get the option of bypassing them. You know, you're probably going to be stuck with the fact that you're going to have to test them out in order to, or you're going to have to experience some of those feelings in order to try something new. I'm just going to dig a hole down here because I've got the super powered drill mod. I may as well. And then when I come back up here, I'm probably going to dig a hole in the ground that I'm supposed to be digging, or that I'm supposed to be walking on, and then that'll end up very well. Let's drop that back here. Okay, now we take it slowly because we don't want to die. I should actually stand a little further back than what I am now, but instead I'll just dig the ceiling higher, because obviously that's the right way to do things. So instead of bypassing that, what I would suggest you then figure out is, how do I manage that anxiety and fear, and how do I learn to tolerate the distress I feel with it? How do I learn to accept the fact that maybe that's part and parcel of the process? And how do I figure out how much fear and anxiety is worth it for me to experience in order to get something better at the end, and how much is maybe too much that I say, look, I'm quite comfortable to just stay where I am in this process now. Let's get some more tethers. Oh, God. Geez, this thing likes turning off my light at like the moment I run out of anything. It's like, nope, no more light, sorry. Let's dig up those two. And then let's just look around here a little. I'm hoping at some point down here I'm going to run into a lovely patch of iron. But in the meantime, we'll just dig this out the way so I can actually see what I'm looking at. I love these floaty bits of rock in the middle of nowhere sometimes. And so yeah, my answer in truth is, you don't bypass that. And now, to be fair, there are many things you can do to minimize the level of negative emotions that you experience. Because the truth is, a lot of people have thought processes and behavioral habits and stuff that really makes their negative emotions much, much stronger than they honestly need to be. And if they can, and that's some of the tools that, as in my therapy process and many other therapists' process, we would teach people to say, hey, look, if you practice these kinds of thought patterns and learn to identify these thought patterns and change these behaviors and, we can minimize the amount of fear and anxiety you experience. That's not to say we get rid of them, but we take it from a huge negative emotion, a huge and strong negative emotion, to a mild and noticeable negative emotion for the most part. Roxev, admittedly, I don't know which part you know what I mean, but I'm glad you know what I mean, no matter which part I'm talking about. Oh, I just put it away. I was like, why did it disappear? Have I found something special? I like that I'm just digging down for forever. And my poor kitty sounds so sad behind me here. Meow. I always feel like nothing is valuable enough to deal with those feelings. That's an interesting one. I mean, have you ever been on a roller coaster? And if you have, did you experience some level of fear or anxiety on that roller coaster? Because I know I've been on roller coasters, and I know I tend to become kind of fearful / anxious when I get on a roller coaster. How is this one connecting me, but it's not connected? That was strange, but okay. And there's more. Oh, God. Honestly, at this point, I'm like, more titanium. Who cares? I don't want the titanium. I do like that I'm digging through all this so quickly, though. But I want iron. I don't want titanium. Well, I do want titanium. I just want iron more. The outcome of this is getting a dull life. It's the price I have to pay. And that's one possibility. People who avoid... Oh, that looks like an evil plant. Oh, get away. Yes, you're going to make gas, and then we avoid you, and then we come back again. I wonder if it gets more dangerous the further down I go. Probably does. God, there's a lot of titanium here. This is just like a titanium paradise down here. There must be something out to kill me here if there's this much free resource. Like, surely they can't just be like, oh, you made it down this hole. Have all the titanium you could ever dream of. Have I have filled up my backpack basically. But I want iron. Dear map, give me iron. Oh, hello. And give me research, because I like research. There we go. Okay. Now, where are the plants that are trying to kill me? That just looks like, yeah, that's just more titanium. Okay, there doesn't seem to be anything too terrible in my immediate vicinity. And yeah, I think, you're right, that is the price you pay. People often make the decision to say, you know what, I would rather not have a certain emotion and skip out on a particular experience or a particular thing than vice versa. And so, for example, I don't watch horror movies because I don't like the amount of fear that they create in me, and I don't find it pleasant, and I don't feel like I have that much to gain. Right? I just heard one of those evil plants here, and I see the gas, but I don't know where the plant is right now. So let me just move back a bit, and then we'll go do that. There it is. No, don't kill me. Please don't kill me. Stay away from me. Okay, let's see what's over here. Debris. Don't really care about carbon, but okay. What is through here? That's more titanium, isn't it? It's the same. No. This is a little green plus. That's a little star. So they're clearly different. Ah, and I ran out. Oh, wait. It was just organic. Here's me going, ooh, what's this fancy resource? And it's just organic. Have we seen any compound on our way down here? I feel like we haven't. I do love the ominous music down here. And also, I see there's one of those nasty... Wow! There's a lot of nasty plants down there. That thing's creating gas, but it's probably not going to reach me. But I'm still going to leave it alone anyways, because I have no more tethers. And I haven't found iron this way. But yeah, so really you've come to sort of a very useful question there to say, okay, how much do I sacrifice in order to avoid emotional experiences? Because emotional avoidance is huge. People do it all the time. And I think people do it kind of unthinkingly. And at the very least, I just want people to be aware of that, to know, hey, I'm doing this in order to avoid a certain emotional experience. Because I think the more people are consciously aware of that, the more they'll start often taking the decision to say, actually, I don't want to this, I don't want to do this, I don't want to think this, I don't want to act that way, whatever it is. I'll rather experience that emotion than whatever the previously unconscious alternative was. What kind of games do you play? Anything multiplayer? So on stream, I've played almost entirely Astroneer. I played a little bit, I think I had like 1 or 2 streams where I played some 2 Point Hospital. But what I found was, because I'm not that familiar with the game, it was difficult. It was even more difficult. I mean, you've seen how well I get distracted in this game. It was even more difficult for me to concentrate on what I was talking about, because I was too busy going, ooh, what does this do? Oh, how do I understand this? Wait, let me read this tooltip. And so for the moment, I've been sticking to, for my streams, just Astroneer. When it comes to me personally, I play plenty of honestly, multiplayer games are my favorite types of games. Like there's so much more fun to be had in playing games with other people than there is just playing a game on your own. I mean, I'm playing this game on my own at the moment, as much as I have a stream going in the background. But I enjoy it, Although I do love it when people join in the game with me as well. So, like, I've got a collection of friends that haven't played Astroneer in ages, but we've played some Stellaris together. There was a time where we were playing a bit of Factorio together. I kind of missed that too, because I do like my Factorio. I play a lot of League of Legends outside of stream time. Right, let's pop all these in here. This is just going to be a titanium run all over again, and I'm never going to find any iron. Sigh. I should just go back to a planet where I know there's iron and like dig up masses of it with my fancy new drill mod. Over there, and nope. Over there. conscious of that, I can't take that step. Now, I'm curious. I can't take that step, or I don't want to take that step. And that you don't have to answer me on that, but just to think to yourself, which of those two is it? Have you made a decision not to, or are you physically, mentally incapable of doing it? We recommend your game then. Take a look at Foxhole on Steam. It's a great game, the ultimate co-op experience. This is great, also the best I've seen. That's really cool. Okay. You said Foxhole. So what type of game is Foxhole? Like, is it a similar sandbox sort of thing, or what are you doing in Foxhole for the most part? I wonder. I didn't bring any more compound with me, did I? There was some compound up here somewhere. I went and dug it out somewhere on the surface. Where did I dig out my compound? It was this planet, I think. You know what? We'll just run in any direction and see if we find some. Like over here, for example. Jeez, well, this really does use up your power supply quickly. And I have to run back here. Honestly, you're right. I really should have a small wind turbine with me. Jeez, he uses up all these resources like so quickly here. Right, we went out that way, so we're going to run out that way. Nope, we failed. I'm very good at, especially on off-world planets, I'm really good at dropping the tethers like just out of range of where they need to be. And one more. No, we were so close, and yet too far. Jeez, it was like a millimeter. Okay, then let's grab the research item off of there. Let's dig up these trees because they look funny. Oh god, that's a lot of compound. I feel like they're kind of trying to reward you for like, right, you've come to a really hard planet. Here, I have lots of resources. At least that's what it feels like anyway. But this amount of compound means I can go digging for a while now. I don't actually want the resin or the organic. Resin can stay. Resin can stay. Oh, no power. Reconnect, please. And now let's point at the wall. There's nothing to compare to. It's a strategy top-down shooter where 3 factions fight to control a world divided in 14 regions. Every soldier is a player and everything needs to be made by players. Resources gathered, vehicles, weapons, and ammo produced, and structures built. Simulates all of the components of war, conflict, building, logistics, and fighting. That sounds pretty cool. I would assume they probably also have space for for example, I know I'm pretty rubbish at FPS shooter sort of things. I just don't move my mouse fast enough to be competitive at it. I like to leisurely sort of scroll around looking for what I'm wanting to click on. What do you mean? So I'm imagining it's probably got space for the people who are like, listen, I'll gather resources and build stuff. You protect me and shoot all the things. Oh, excuse me. It's kind of like if you've played much of Factorio, it's got the whole component of fighting bugs off. And that's probably my least favorite part of the game. It's not terrible. And I know you can turn it off, but that feels a little too easy, I guess. Oh, there's a cave down there. Okay, now we've got a full bag of compound and a research item. We will go back to base and decide where we're going from here, because apparently this planet is full of resources. But yeah, so I'm guessing a game like that probably has stuff where they let you not partake in any particular aspect of the game if that's your jam, basically. Okay, let's drop this here. Let's bring that over here and drop a bunch of compound on it. No, on there. And okay, it really doesn't want to go on my storage thing. And on there. La la la. I saw there's a message, but I'm busy putting compound on a storage thingy. Give me 1 second. Or did I run out of space on it? Maybe I ran out of space on it. That can just stay there then. If you like logistics, you can only gather and refine materials and deliver them anywhere where needed, or be a medic on the front line. You don't have to be shooting if you don't want to. There's a place for everyone. Every job is essential. That's pretty cool. Do you know, is it free to play? Is it in early access? Does it have a big price tag? Like price wise, how does it do? I'm curious to go have a look though for sure. I'm going to dig up this thing just because I don't want to run into it at some point. Oh crap, and I just destroyed my tether line. Okay, there we go. Those are connected. Do I go down the same hole looking for iron? Because I felt like I didn't really find a lot of iron. Actually, what I could do is just go down here, find a new angle. Actually, that's what I was doing. Let's just find a new angle and dig. Especially with me having access to the shiny digging tool. Let's make new tethers in the meantime. Oh, let's not run down a hole where I'm not looking. No, it's an indie game. It's early access, but really active. Every month or so there's updates, and the devs are really active on Twitch, Reddit, and Discord. Oh, that's really cool. I do love when they're active on Reddit. Reddit is one of my favorite hangout spots. So yeah, it's always awesome to me when developers get involved in Reddit related stuff. Oh look, more titanium! Hooray! God, where do I find the iron in this game? I mean, I do think they said it was a secondary resource, but come on, like, give me a little bit of it. Ooh. Oh, is this where I was looking earlier, where there were a bunch of nasty plants off in the distance, and I'm just about to land on top of them, basically. Just digging this out the way so that I have space to see what I'm doing. Well, that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, let's go down here. Look at me focusing so hard, I've gone quiet again. Let's go that way. It's not very expensive, but you can take it on a sale. They do some sometimes. The great thing about Foxhole is really its social side, and the mature community leaves most of it. And it's different from other games where there's no dedicated servers for each continent. Everyone from all around the world joins the same game. That's pretty cool. Wait, where? Oh, there's no. Oh yeah, okay. You meet people from everywhere. That's really cool. And I do like the whole everywhere component of that sort of stuff, like with people with different languages and. Oh god, come here. I want to dig you away before you kill me. There we go. Lots of research items. Okay, let's connect this before we suffocate. There we go. Oh, and I think that is another research item. We'll just have a little collection of them at the bottom of our hill here. Why is there no iron in this game? Let me just double check that. I'm sure there was iron, or there was supposed to be iron on this planet. Yeah, secondary hematite. Is there one that has a... see, there's one that has primary hematite. I should probably go there for hematite. Alright, let's then go back to Novus and get some of that. So in the meantime, we'll pick up... which one of these? The shiny, or the not so shiny green one. We'll take that one. and run back up our giant never-ending ramp and tunnel and ramp and tunnel and tunnel and ramp. Are you from Portugal? Cool. I'm trying to think, is there anything I can remember how to say in Portuguese? Is buenos dias a greeting in Portuguese, maybe? My Portuguese is awful, so the worst is okay, I know they're fairly different, but there's also similarities. But my partner's a Spanish translator, and I don't speak a word of Spanish. And my partner's not a Portuguese translator, but I also don't speak any Portuguese, so sorry about that. I do speak Japanese if you want to speak that instead, but slightly different, I guess. See the differences in there. Most of them are American, though I met a bunch of South Africans also. Oh, yay, South Africans! So, but now I'm a South African in Canada, so I don't know if that makes me different or something. We're going to put these down here and down there, and come here, down there. No, okay, just in the middle of nowhere then. No, there we go. And we're going to put some research objects on here, and another research object. I want those, and I want that. Okay, are we good to go then? Yeah, I think that's fine actually, because now we want to go get iron. So let's launch, and we'll go get some iron somewhere. Devs are Canadian. Yay, Canadians! I like South Africans and Canadians, but I like most of the other ones too, so I just like making fun of the Americans. Buenos dias is Spanish. Damn it! Oh well. I think I did put enough disclaimers to say I don't speak much Portuguese, so sorry about that. No, not Aatrox, please. Silver, yes, please. And let's go see. I'm on my last fuel thing, so I'm gonna have to go work on getting some. Did I bring my soil canister with this time? I'm not sure if I did. And my stuff is back there. I always hate this. Now you gotta sit and rotate for forever. Okay, I will definitely go have a look. I think I'll have a look at the game, and if it looks good to me, I'll put it on my wish list and definitely wait for a sale, because I'm definitely a wait for Steam sales sort of person. Was it? I'm not sure it was Astroneer or Factorio, but I know there was one of them where they just didn't do a sale. They just kept a consistent price, like no matter what. But I do like when they have sales. So yeah, I'll go have a... Hope my English is good enough though. Dude, I didn't even know you weren't first language English, so I think your English is just fine. Don't worry about that. Yeah, I think you're okay. There's where I want to go. Now orbit, little shippy, orbit. Go faster, go. So I realized as well, we went gloriously off topic from emotions, thoughts, and behaviors, and went gloriously into therapy. And I can honestly say it's kind of the ideal for me in a way, because I love therapy. I am an absolute therapy geek. I will talk therapy for hours and hours and hours with anybody that cares to listen to me talk, and possibly even with people who don't care to listen to me talk. So yeah, that's me. What I'm thinking now, we've hit 11 o'clock, and I do need to I need to be able to get up at a decent time tomorrow. I'm busy with a course, so I've got to get up at a relatively early hour. And I'd like to introduce you to the other stream as well. So there's a guy named Dr. Mick. So what I'm going to do whenever I get the chance, I love to end my stream off this way, is I stand in front of my little shelter here and I wave to you. Bye. I jump in there. And then I'm going to take us off to raid Dr. Mick's channel. And I'd encourage you to have a look if you're interested in the whole mental health and gaming side of things. He is pretty good. He's a really cool guy. Yeah. And have a look, and you can realize just how many things I'm missing from my stream next time. I'm just going to type in the command here. Not in all caps, please. Raid Dr. Mick live, and hopefully I'll see you over that side. And I'm going to load it up on my phone because, because I've learned when you raid, it's useful to have it on your phone so that you can actually hear if they talk to you. But let's not have it too loud, shall we? Okay, great. Then, yeah, let's raid over there with you and whoever else has left this side. And thank you for joining me. If you feel free to follow me on Twitch, you can join the Discord channel. I'll usually put up announcements there roughly half an hour before I'm going to stream. Sometimes if I remember a little bit more before, and sometimes if I'm a bit delayed, then it'll be like 5-10 minutes before. My schedule is below the stream as well, though, for at least for fixed times that I stream. I do stream more than that as well, often as well. But it just depends on the day. There's three. It's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday from 9 o'clock that I've set as like the definite days. Okay, let's go raid Dr. Mick, and yeah, thank you very much for joining. I always do this. I finish the stream, I say the last word, I hit enter on raid, and then I realize, oh, I need to actually wait for the raid button to pop up, but I can actually do it. And there the button's popped up. Okay, let's head over there. Cheers, guys.
Meaning, now you'll transition us beautifully into that combo, Mother.